What is the creepiest confession, most disturbing that you have heard from an otherwise normal person? Back in my early 20s, I'm 41 now, I had a small group of close friends. We'd get together after work and on weekends to smoke weed or drink. Sometimes someone would bring someone new. One new guy I'll call Scott started to hang out frequently on weekends. Seemed normal but mostly quiet. One night Scott gets stoned and tells the group how a neighbor abducted him and his younger brother at knife point from the woods behind their house and forced him to perform sex acts with his younger brother while the neighbor watched. If they balked or refused, the guy would cut them or poke them with the knife. Scott's telling this story like he's no longer aware we are even in the room. He's looking through us. He tells us that the guy lets them go after like 8 hours. When Scott gets home, his little brother runs and hides, so he goes and tells his mom what happened. But she doesn't believe him and claims he's making it up to excuse the two boys for being late. The next day, Scott's little brother still wouldn't come out of his room, so Scott tells his dad, then takes his dad and shows him his little brother's bleeding rectum. Scott tells us everything goes to hell from there. The cops are called. The story has to be told over and over again. Scott's parents' marriage explodes due to his mom not believing the story or even informing the father about it. Scott's mom tells everybody remotely close to the family the details, which embarrasses and humiliates both the boys. Scott says he tried to block it out, but his little brother is tormented by it, despite tons of therapy. Parents divorce and Scott's dad has custody. Scott continues telling us how his brother blames him for everything for years. The little brother was sodomized by Scott multiple times during the ordeal. So, a couple years go by and Scott's little brother is guilting him the whole time. The little brother decides the only way he can forgive Scott and get past it is if he gets to do to Scott what Scott was forced to do to him. Guilts Scott into it through a lot of blame and then threats of suicide. Afterwards, the younger brother tells the parents and immediate family what he did to Scott. Then the brother decides he can't live with what he did with Scott. Brother writes in his suicide note that he can't understand how Scott could live with himself after what Scott did to him because he can't live with what he did to Scott. The younger brother hanged himself. Scott tells this whole story to us, then he curls up in fetal position and starts bawling his eyes out. Everybody is just stunned. We did bong hits till Scott cried himself out, then the dude who first brought Scott in takes him home. We never see Scott again. Only legends make it to the end. Hit that follow.